As we all, being an American, we all, we grow up amongst others. We grow up amongst many different cultures, and it's, of course, it's not the same as, going to school with a kid that's Chinese or Vietnamese or Taiwanese or Filipino, um, or Filipina. That that was typical, and you, yeah, you don't. It's not like going to that country, but you can pick up on some of those slight, or the more pronounced differences, because people, uh, you know, the, when they come here, they drop a lot of the superfluous stuff and they adopt, American, uh, a lot of American culture and standards. And like, for instance, I remember going to school with a girl that was she was Taiwanese, um, very smart. She was very smart. I remember another girl was Filipina, um, and I went to school. I think the kid's name was Kevin Chen. I think he was Taiwanese or Chinese. He was. It's funny because me and him were like basically we competed uh, for accolades in our grade. It was like all throughout elementary school. Me and this Chinese kid Kevin, and I remember I'm left-handed, so when I write, it smears the lead all over the paper. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but it causes the paper to have this gray, silvery sheen to it. And what's funny is I always used to hate it because the side of my hand would be literally pencil lead color after school, no matter what. No matter what, because for me to write all day, I had to just sit there and rub my hand over each and every sentence. And in fifth grade, this Kevin Chen, I remember he sat next to me in school, and he was very much so a perfectionist. Um, his like I remember that it was quite it was eye opening because I saw it. My page was smeared, and I thought it was so damned ugly. I would go through there. Sometime I remember for a little while when I first kind of had a problem with it, I would go in and erase in between, like paragraphs or any space, any of that. I would go in and clear it out and erase it, and like try to get rid of this smearing. And in fifth grade, Kevin, he sat next to me, and I noticed. I don't know when I don't know when he started, but I noticed after he would finish an essay or any, like if it was an essay or a book report, he would go over and smear his pencil lead over his entire paper. And I remember being like, Kevin, what in the hell are you doing, man? Like, dude, what are you doing? You're like and he looks at me. He goes, I like the way it looks. And that I kind of like, what? You like the way that looks? I mean, it just struck me as odd. But for years, I had been, had really kind of hated how my paper looked, how my essays looked, how my how my writing looked. I just that smearing it just made everything seem dirty to me. But to him, I don't know. It gave the sheen. To him, it made the paper look more attractive, and I always thought that was odd, especially as a young kid, that the aesthetics of the actual paper, not just the writing. He wasn't just trying to write good. No, to him, that whole paper was a presentation. It was like a book report with a cover page. That whole, like, to him, just one paper, a single side of a piece of paper essay, 3 paragraph essay, to him, uh, that I guess, maybe he wanted it to be so good that he wasn't satisfied with just writing words on the paper. Because I think he was a bit of an overachiever, a bit of a perfectionist. He wanted to do it right, or how he wanted things to look how he wanted them. And I guess him seeing mine, he just decided that he liked that, because I know he didn't, he wasn't doing it before, and he's not left-handed. And seeing him go over it like that just blew my mind. And the fact that to him, we were in fifth grade, man, and this kid was concerned about the aesthetics of an essay. Like, that it just blew my mind, that this kid, and even recollecting, like I just, out of nowhere started thinking of this, but even recollecting about it, that's wild. That a fifth grade kid was that, like, that, that he even considered that he even cared enough. Like, when I was in fifth grade, I didn't give a damn about that essay. I was just trying to get the damn thing in so the teacher would leave me alone or whatever. But, I'll never forget that. That was so odd, and the things that you pick up, like I was saying, the things that you pick up in America from going to school and living amongst other people from other places, because I do believe his parents were first, or they were born in another country and they came here. He was a first generation. But, I always thought, that stuff is all, I always thought there was something to that, and even though it's not, it's not something that I use, it's not a utility. I don't rub elbows with many Asian people on a regular basis. So it doesn't help me. But, I do still, the fact that I got a different perspective, or that I got a perspective opposite of mine, that, like, it was a good lesson, because to me, my paper looked ugly because of the smearing. But that kid, and it kind of showed perspective. I think that was my first understanding of perspective, was that this kid had the exact opposite opinion of me when it came to the aesthetics of his literary skill, his book report, his or essay, and it's just kind of neat, and how that stuck in my mind, honestly, because I totally started this video with something completely different in mind, and that just kind of turned up in the course of the preamble of the plot, or the idea I had for this one. So, I mean, a happy accident, as they say.